Now let's settle a bit at home and talk about what we saw this week. And it's Accra Hearts of Oak on the talking board today on our show as well. You need to call up your friends to watch the show, because if you are an Accra Hearts of Oak supporter, we are asking you the question, what needs to change at the club? You need to tell us. But it's been a fantastic soap opera, from Coach Costa Papic leaving the job, the resignations that followed, the demonstrations from the supporters, the reaction from the board and the captains, and then the news that Costa Papic under 48 hours had signed for Black Leopards in the South African Premier League. Amazing scenes, amazing stuff this week. So let's start the opera, and we're going to start right now with the Accra Hearts of Oak supporters who besieged the club secretariat to register their displeasure at happenings at the club.
The uproar was palpable at the club secretariat in Accra. The supporters were in their rainbow colors with red cloth tied around their foreheads and wrists. Even the security personnel was not exempted. It was believed at the start of the season that the current campaign will bring an end to the Phobians' 11-year wait for a league title. Despite a poor start to the season, the appointment of Serbian coach Costa Papic instilled optimism amongst the Hearts fraternity as the club catapulted into the second place in January after a string of impressive performances. However, a dismal run of form which has led to the resignation of coach Papic, his assistant Bediako Asare and goalkeepers trainer Ben Owu has rapidly altered the optimism to pessimism. Hearts now find themselves outside the top 10 and are closer to the bottom than the top of the league in terms of points accumulated. It has been speculated that the influence of the board members in the selection of players for games is the bane of the club. The supporters at the secretariat blocked staff from going into their offices while making serious demands, which they expect the leadership to address immediately.
We are therefore requesting, and our statement goes to the board, chairman specifically, and the board of Accra Hearts of Oak. We say demand for a roundtable discussion with board of directors. Kindly accept our warm compliments. Kindly find attached the following demands. The National Chapters Committee on behalf of supporters and other organs, i.e. us ladies, AHUPA, is calling for the immediate reconstitution of the club's board of directors to make accommodation for stakeholder and minority shareholders and holding of the long overdue annual general meeting. The NCC demands an immediate appointment, and I want to reiterate that immediate appointment of a CEO, first team local coach. Please underline, we say local coach. Local coach. We don't want a foreign coach. Yes. Please, media, underline local coach. The NCC, on behalf of the supporters, is demanding a first team local coach.
In the meantime, the team will now be handled by Samuel Ninoy, the current under-15 coach of the club, until a new head coach is appointed.
Quick update on that as well, because you know that we have an interim technical team put in place, headed by, well, the former Black Stars winger, Lai Kingston. So we'll see what happens in that. There's a lot in terms of our discussion to come. But let's move away from the supporters. After they went on with their demonstration to register their displeasure at the club secretariat, it was followed some few hours after by the board. They start to also explain this side of things. We'll be hearing from a key board member, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo.
The board wishes to inform all supporters and especially shareholders that all arrangements are far advanced to hold an annual general meeting in June, where issues such as reconstitution of the board will be addressed. Shareholders are therefore being advised to take note and make sure they attend and participate in the decision-making process. The board also wishes to inform supporters that it intends to make a rights issue of shares immediately after the AGM to enable those holding shares buy more shares and also new investors to buy. We would therefore appeal to our supporters and the general public to remain calm while we try to get replacements for the head coach and the goalkeepers trainer immediately. Whilst we also undertake a general review of the club arising out of findings we have made in the wake of these recent happenings.
Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, indeed, the Accra Hospital captain, Fatal Mohammed was there as well. There was Vincent, yes, so Adote was there. And then we also know Elijah Kambi was there. There's more to come when we do the discussion here. But we're asking again, Accra Hospital fans, what needs to change at the club? You need to find some level of consistency. How will that come? And that's up for you to do that. So yeah, very fantastic week as well. The UEFA Champions League right in there after round of 16 started. It was a week where we spoke about the two youngsters, Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland, fantastic young man for Borussia Dortmund, and then the other one for Paris Saint-Germain. So I'm going to give you the two games that really caught the eye. Let me say three games. We'll start with the Paris Saint-Germain game against Barcelona, which forced us to think again that we're probably getting close to the end of an era as they lost by 4-1 there. That's great stuff for Paris Saint-Germain. Then we'll go straight to the Sevilla-Dortmund game, 3-2, but one in which, Haaland starred so well. And then we'll end it all with how Cristiano Ronaldo's Juventus lost to FC Porto at the Stadio di Dragao. Enjoy this. All right, so I'm in my mask. Very soon you hear from Prince of Japan, but that's the Champions League action. And to tell you again, next week we've got live commentary for you. It's Chelsea up against Atletico Madrid. That's another special one, and then we'll see how it goes. Let's just talk about the tennis. For those of you who love tennis, and I can see a lot of you getting on Twitter and warming up for the final. The female final that's happening at 8:30 this morning. Naomi Osaka will be up against Jennifer Brady. Should be a very special one. For those of you who watch Naomi Osaka against Jennifer Brady in US Open semi-final, yeah, en route to winning that. It was very, very tight. Jennifer Brady is in her first Grand Slam final, and she's hoping to make this work. Naomi Osaka has won 3 Grand Slam titles and is hoping to win a 4th at 23. I don't know, but if you missed the locker room yesterday, that was it. We're talking about Serena Williams and why we need to wait a lot more for Serena Williams, and why I still feel like Serena Williams has wasted a lot of her finals, but you can't blame her. In the Open era, she's won 23 Grand Slam titles. But when you want to look at the average, because she's chasing Margaret Court's 24 Grand Slam titles. Margaret Court won 24 Grand Slam titles in 29 finals. And Serena Williams has won 23 in 33 finals. So clearly, you look at the balance, there's a problem there for Serena Williams. Now, the male final will take place tomorrow. That is between Novak Djokovic. He's the 17-time Grand Slam winner, hoping to win an 18th Grand Slam when he comes up against Daniil Medvedev. He was in the final of the US Open 2019. He came from 2 sets down to really give Rafa Nadal a hard time, but lost it. That experience coming in handy for him here. But it'll be very, very difficult to bet against Novak Djokovic. So these are the special ones that we'll be looking forward to in the Australian Open. Good luck to everyone. That's even if you hear it. It's okay. All right, so let's move away from tennis. And we have to talk about what you guys have been saying on social media. It's been buzzing this week. Kylian Mbappe versus Haaland. Some of you say Kylian Mbappe are going to take over from Ronaldo and Messi. You need consistency, champ. You need consistency to try and do that. Quincy Japan joins me. Quincy, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Kylian Mbappe and Haaland, who do you like?
Mbappe. Yeah, but I think most people also do. I kind of see more of Cristiano Ronaldo in Mbappe than Haaland. So maybe my biases towards Cristiano Ronaldo is reflected on Mbappe. But yeah, I prefer him to Haaland.
You prefer him to Haaland? I think he's a more complete player. Just for now, it's difficult to compare the two because you see, one is a one is a striker.
Yeah.
And he's scoring his goals.
Yeah.
And that is a midfielder who has added goals to his game.
Yes.
Let's allow the young men to grow.
Sure.
But is it over for Messi and Ronaldo?
No, not yet. Like those two, you never. I know it's going to be over someday, some way, somehow. But now they are still reigning.
Okay, so then, as you know, our first question was what?
Okay, so we asked our supporters, our followers, actually, to describe Kylian Mbappe
With a word.
with just
Anybody who does two words or three words are out of this
see
race.
the sentences and the essays most people
Sometimes people don't get it. A word. Just a word. Okay, let's see the tries.
Okay. All right, so words.
A word. Just one word. Okay, let's see. Let's take about 4 of those words. Let's see. So,
all like
just describe him with a word.
Just a word. Okay.
He's nothing like Messi.
He's nothing like Messi, for that I know, and I can assure you Messi will score a hat-trick on the return leg, so you guys can keep mute a little. So this is a word. Incredible. I really enjoyed watching him. Okay, so this is from Samson Mafo. And then Prince Richard Kofi said, focus on Ghana and African football. Foreign, okay.
But if I don't understand that one.
Okay.
Thomas Partey is playing what football? Anyway.
Right. Yeah. And then Duke Kwabena said, actually better than Messi. Okay. Abdulatif Ali said, I honestly doubt PSG would win if Neymar would have won if Neymar was on the pitch for them. And then Ikuya Eboa said, describe it one word and you are writing thesis.
Ikuya, but you two are writing thesis. Where's your word, Ikuya?
Okay. Akwesi Akosa Bones said, why do you people keep hailing this guy, sir? I know he is a good player, but sooner or later you guys are going to blast him because he sometimes disappears in games. You journalists. Yeah. So Sisi Demond said, you see Supreme Court our next bench for here. The person said, describe in one word. Then no, people start to write essay.
Bukari Ali killed me. Look at Bukari Ali.
Okay. Talented hard work.
One word. Okay, let's move to our next question.
Yeah, so our next question, we're asking, who would you have in your team, Mbappe or Haaland? And then people wrote, we have Dede Gerard. He said Haaland because he's playing in one of the competitive leagues in the world. And Divine said Yaya Mohammed. Yeah. And then the original Enoch said Haaland to Barca. Okay. Nana Kwekwe do answer said none.
But he's a Kotoko fan, I understand that.
Yeah, no Mbappe.
I think on that cue, let's go to the Kotoko. You had a Kotoko topic for the fans, or Hasbrook topic, one of them. Let's see where we go.
So we can do the heart first and then we finish with the Kotoko. Or we should do the Kotoko and finish with the heart.
Let's do the Accra Hasbrook.
Okay. So we asked who should be blamed for Heart of Oak's woes, the players or management.
Okay.
And then we had followers writing. Oliver Chumesi said everybody should be blamed, especially supporters who always seek free gates. The selling of backdoor tickets to supporters without reflecting in the team's account. Some stakeholders who only think about the interest they make on their investments and not the achievement of the team. The failure on the part of management to secure lucrative sponsorship for the club, coupled with the hasty selling over high players to foreign clubs.
Let's go to Baye Jeremiah.
Baye Jeremiah said the players should take the full responsibility for the embarrassment caused. The blame goes to the players. They went to the pitch and were there for the full 90 minutes but failed to perform up to the task.
Ochiman Deshe, you appear the fourth. I don't know what you're talking about. What has JD Muhammad done to you there? Kwame KTG?
Yeah, Kwame KTG said, whenever I remember Cobson, Taylor, Don, Kufuor, Dems, I feel like crying. Hearts pani. Okay. And then Halifax Darlington said the management committee, they are not serious. George Oliver Anand said the truth is until the 64 battalions are paid what they promised them, the wars will continue.
I don't know if there's a story there. What do we have in Kumasi Asante Kotoko? Because we know that they have to do something. Can they turn things around? That's a question.
Hopefully. So we asked, can Kotoko turn things around their second leg encounter against Setif? And then we had lots of comments. Let's go through them and see what they wrote. Bernard Quay said, football is a game full of uncertainties. All things are possible, so says the good book. Okay, Kankam Buedu said, Kotoko at this stage is similar to NDC and 2020 election petition at Supreme Court. It will take uncommon favor for Kotoko to survive, okay? To survive at Algeria. Asari Kweku Piasari Foster said, kill 1,000 go come. Okay, they are the owners of the pitch in Algeria. That's sarcasm. I saw the emoji. Sarcasm. Don't mind him.
Asabok fan.
Enoch Amu Inketia said they shouldn't deceive the fans by telling them they are going there to qualify. Please. Yaya Zakaria said Kotoko will surely win and qualify.
Don't know, do you have some fixtures for the women's
game
the women's
this weekend? Yeah,
it's
coming back today and
okay.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at that.
Very interesting games and clash between the security services, immigration ladies and police ladies in there somewhere. So yeah, in the northern zone, you have fabulous ladies playing against northern ladies. Supreme ladies facing Kumasi Sports Academy. Prisons ladies will play against Ampem Dakwan ladies. And Pelpia will face Ashtown ladies in the northern zone. And in the southern zone, we have immigration ladies. Yes, the clash of the security services. We have immigration playing against police ladies. Hazakes ladies facing Sea Lions FC. Berry ladies playing against Thunder Queens, whilst Lady Strikers plays against Soccer Intellectuals. As always, thank you very much, Queens of Japan, for joining me on the show to take us through the social media stuff and to tell us about how the ladies are doing. Sure. I'm sure at full time, at half time in the league, we'll talk about the top players and those who are coming at and everything. As Queens of Japan, can we start now then with the Ghana Premier League fixtures to tell you about what's to come on match day 15? Quite a number of things that happened there, because we know already that Ashanti Gold beat the Giana Stars by 4-0. That game was played yesterday. Maybe when Atapoku joins us, he will explain what's happening with the Giana Stars. I think Nuhu Adams as well was there watching that game. Inter Allies are up against Wafa. This game is happening today. Brecum Chelsea play Dreams FC. Elmina Sharks up against Mediama SC. Karela United will play Liberty Professionals. Becheb United up against Legon Cities. 11 Wonders up against Great Olympics. There's Hearts of Oak versus Dwarfs all on Sunday. And then we have King Faisal and the Asante Kotoko game, which has been postponed. So we'll wait for when that game will be played. I think it's in the first week of March, this game. We'll look forward to that. English Premier League fixtures very quickly for you. This is what we've got. Southampton up against Chelsea is the early kickoff. Yeah, that's the game. I'm sure Chelsea fans will be having a good look at it. Burnley up against West Brom. Liverpool up against Everton. After winning against RB Leipzig, the Merseyside derby, just to shape things a bit for us. Fulham up against Sheffield. These are the games. Let's do some more what we get tomorrow. Remember, we've got Arsenal vs Manchester City. That's our live commentary game for you on the Sports Arena. You want to join Gary for that. West Ham up against Spurs. Aston Villa against Leicester City. Manchester United will play Newcastle United. This game is at Old Trafford. And if it's at Old Trafford, you always have a chance, don't you? On Monday, Brighton up against Crystal Palace. English Premier League fixtures. We can go into the Spanish La Liga. And it looks very much like Atletico Madrid want to win this. Elche up against Eibar. Atletico Madrid against Levante. There's Valencia up against Celta Vigo. Real Valladolid up against Real Madrid. These games coming on Saturday. Barcelona, Cadiz, Real Sociedad up against Alaves. Huesca will play Granada. There's Athletic Bilbao up against Villarreal. And then on Monday, we have Osasuna up against Sevilla. Let's now go into the Italian Serie A fixtures for you. What's to come this weekend? On Saturday, just today, Lazio up against Sampdoria. We've got Genoa up against Hellas Verona. There's Sassuolo up against Bologna. Now the Sunday games. It's important to note that as AC Milan continue to dilly-dally, when they have this topsy-turvy period in the league, then you are giving Inter Milan and Juventus the chance to really come into it. Let's look at the Sunday games. It's really getting interesting at the top of the table for Serie A and the Scudetto race. Parma up against Udinese. We've got the Derby della Madonnina up here. It's AC Milan against Inter Milan. Should be a feisty battle because of how close they are on the table. Atalanta up against Napoli. Benevento will play Roma. And then on Monday, what have we got in terms of the Serie A fixtures? On Monday, here you go, Juventus play against Crotone. So they'll watch nicely the battle between AC Milan and Inter Milan, sip their tea, relax the whole day, and then on Monday, they'll come and know what they've got to do. These are the fixtures, key fixtures, and the games to go through. Remember that we've got the Joy Sports GPL pack. I mean, a stats pack. You need to look out for it because you get all the information that you need going into match day 15. I'll take a short break. When I come back, it's the extra view because we're beginning to open up all the problems of Accra Hearts of Oak. But be sure, we're going to end it by giving you solutions and what needs to be done. Nuhu Adams is standing by with extra view. I'm back with more. For staying with us, it's now time to get into extra view and now time to talk about the problems of Accra Hearts of Oak. At least get the facts before we begin to do the analysis and try to find the panacea to all of this. Joining me is my colleague from Insura FM from Kumasi right now, Nuhu Adams on the line on Zoom. Nuhu Adams, how are you doing this morning?
Well, George, I'm doing very fine.
That's really good. Always great to hear from you. And it's good to be going through this with you because you have been monitoring the events, you know, happening in South Africa as well, where he's begun his job, Costa Papic, going over it. But let me start from this point. New Adams, this is a difficult question, but I know you're going to give me the right answer. Who should we believe? The board, the coach, the players, the supporters?
Well, I would say someone is probably hiding the truth from all of us, because I remember when House of Folk announced the appointment of Costa Papic, they said he's joining the club on a 2-year deal. All of a sudden, the coach has resigned and the team is not taking him on, because if they sign a contract, there should be clauses binding him. So for him to resign, I think there should be compensations Costa Papic would have paid to House of Folk before leaving. But here is it, he's going, and nobody from House of Folk is talking about taking Costa Papic on. That should tell you there is some hidden truth somewhere. From my checks, Costa Papic joined House of Folk on interim basis for a short-term period, and within that period, it was understood that whenever he gets a deal, he will have to move. So Costa Papic then decided to frame some excuses when the offer came from Black Leopards in South Africa. And then that's it, he's gone. So I think the people who appointed him or who gave him the job at House of Folk did not tell us the truth. It is just like the Sule Muniru Asante Kotoko issue.
Yeah.
You announced that you are signing a player or a coach on a 2-year deal. All of a sudden, you parted with the player, or the coach has resigned. And nobody is talking about taking Costa Papic on. So I think something is hidden somewhere, and that is what we must find out.
That's an important point that you raised there. I know you have been speaking with the coach, you have been speaking with the guys in South Africa, with how everything went. The coach talked about interference from the board. We've heard a lot of things along this line. In fact, in our local circles, it's nothing new. But how documented were this?
Well, Costa Papic has told some close friends about how the House of Folk board or some members of the House of Folk board influenced his selections. It started from the Bekum-Chelsea game. He was forced to travel with certain players. When they got to Bekum, those players were forced to play. So from there, he was not getting the results. So if management or board members are trying to influence you and you have an offer elsewhere, you have to leave and then get your peace of mind. So I think the management or the board, some board members of House of Folk did not help situation. They just did not do due diligence. They are just appointed Costa Papic. I can even say that maybe Costa Papic did not sign even a binding contract. If Costa Papic signed a binding contract, at least there should be clauses and other things that should have been very difficult for Costa Papic to leave just like that. But you see, he's gone. And I believe 1 or 2 members of the House of Folk board just decided to fix something. Costa Papic, you are my friend. You've been home for some time now. Come and do this job on interim basis. When you get an offer, maybe I have my share in whatever deal you get. So it is possible.
I get you. Now, you see, right after the announcement, if you look at the discussion, the discourse, when he left the job and the board and supporters went on with their little fracas, the fans were on the side of the coach, you know, to say that the board didn't do the right thing. But immediately the coach or the announcement came out that he has signed for Black Leopards. Now the trajectory changed and everybody started saying that, oh, the guy once had a job and went, and you know, that is why he was causing a lot of trouble. Now, speaking to those you know at Black Leopards, when did this particular, appointment come in? When was the offer made? And can you say then that Costa Papic just made things difficult for Hassel to find his way at Black Leopards?
You know, Costa Papic is a respected coach in South Africa. Even though he has never won the South Africa League before, his time with Kaiser Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, and other teams earned him some respect there. So he's one coach, they always believe in him. So when things were getting tough for Black Leopards in the South African League, yes, they have a coach in Dalenke. They wanted someone who joined the technical team just to support Dalenke, just to turn things around. And they settled on Costa Papic. So I'm sure for about 2-3 weeks before Costa Papic's resignation, he had been negotiating with Black Leopards just to make sure he gets a very good deal before he leaves Ghana for South Africa for the Black Leopards job. So I think that's all I've been saying, that someone within the House of Football
did not
do things right.
Yeah.
They decided to fix things just to make sure he benefits personally, and then the coach will also benefit, because I don't know the kind of contract they signed with Costa Papic. I don't know the clauses that were in the contract that will make Costa Papic resign just like that and go free. And nobody is talking about taking him on or reporting him to FIFA or whatever. I think something fishy somewhere.
Good. No, just a final one before you leave us. We know that there's another arrangement with Lion Kirsten heading this right now. How much or what do we know about this in terms of how interim this is? Have they got a formal, in terms of, organization, have they got a formal plan, decision to go about this thing?
Well, the House of Folk board and management should be serious here. The way Costa Papic was even appointed wasn't the best, because we know Frederick Moore is the general manager of House of Folk. So if there should be any form of appointing a coach, that should have come from Frederick Moore. But all of a sudden, a board member took Costa Papic to the stadium. The next day, he's been appointed as coach of the club. Yeah. And that was so wrong. But because House of Folk fans were not in terms with Edward Nyodum, they just accepted Costa Papic, because at that time they feel they had to change the head coach, or they had to get someone who can help them turn things around after going winless in their first 2 games of the season. Yeah. So Costa Papic's appointment raised a lot of questions, and that is where things got all wrong. But I believe the fans venting their anger on the ball will let them be vigilant next time. When they are doing things, they will consider the emotions of the fans. And I think I'm going forward, things will be much better.
All right, let me say thank you to you, Nuhu Adams. On Extra View, at least we have an idea of what's happening. We're going on right now to do the big discussion. I'll take a short break. When I come back, Coach Christopher Neville is sitting down with me here in studio. Collins Atapoku, who's been speaking with Costa Papic, will be joining me. Usubempa Ayala will join me as well, and Seydou Adams. So we shall have a very, very good discussion about what this Accra Hasbrook matter is. And truly, we'll give you the opportunity to tell us as well what you think should change with Accra Hasbrook. That's if you're a fan. There's more. Thank you very much for staying with us. Joining me in studio right now, Coach Christopher Neville. And then later, we'll have the guys joining us on Zoom. Coach Neville, how are you doing?
I'm very well, my brother.
And it's good to see you in your Manchester United jersey.
Of course. That is the team I support. Everybody in Ghana knows.
But is everything okay?
By the grace of God, at least.
You couldn't stay at the top, or it's normal? Or it wasn't your target to be at the top? Or you are still around the top?
Why is Chelsea not on top?
We are still in the process. We are still in the process.
Okay, then we are on.
It's not even our targets to be there.
At least we are closer to the top.
To the top. Coach Christopher Nemi. Okay, we'll see how it ends at the end of the season. Anyway, but you have been trying. It's okay. Good stuff. But let's go and take this fire. I call it fire from Alhaji Akambi. Yeah, because we're talking about Accra Hearts vote.
Yeah.
One of the board members who was okay. Alhaji Akambi is not there. Well, maybe because you look at the trajectory of all the things that have been happening at the club, and it's sad to say. Now, I want you to deal, first of all, with the Fatal Mohammed issue. I'm going to play a clip of Fatal Mohammed again. And then we'll just try and, break it down from a coach's perspective, how wrong it was for the board to send him there, and how bad it was for him to even speak at the point, and what it does to his future, and how we can mitigate all of this. I mean, Fatal is a very good friend of mine, of course, but we need to look at this. So let's go to the press conference right now and pick up what Fatal Mohammed had to say.
Yeah, what the boys said on behalf of the playing body and then the technical team. So what the boys said about the favoritism is that some feel that they are ready to play the matches that they were not able to get the chance to play. And some feel that injured players was out of the team. Then when they return back, they get to the team easily. So some thought that they working hard doesn't get respond back or doesn't get the award. That because if I'm 100% fit, then maybe someone has got injured for about 1 month or 2 months out of training, then the person resume back, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, then the person enter into a first 11, which some of us wasn't clear, because if someone is out of the training, he will be not having a match fitness, training fitness. So if someone is playing, then that injured player has returned back, he has to follow the criteria of the rules governing the football.
Fatal Mohammed is a good friend. But I want to have this discussion to help footballers watching so that this mistake is not made again. Which is very, very important. Coach, how did you feel watching this?
So embarrassing. And even more embarrassing when I saw the one I saw behind him. My very good brother, my good friend, Opari. It is clear the boy was coached as to what to go and say. So it is an indictment not only on the boy, but also on the board. And to the communication director. Because these things, if you are coaching somebody to come and speak, you should coach the person properly on what to say and what not to say. For this boy, if there's any player who was favored by Papich, it is him. Because he had lost his position
to Larry.
To Larry. And everybody who supports Hearts of Oak, who went to the stadium to saw Larry's performance week in, week out, we were all very shocked to see Costa Papich restore Fatal back to the starting 11. Because Larry had not done any wrong. He was by far the best defender of Hearts of Oak in that back four. So if there was anybody who was favored, it was Fatal. Now, when Fatal speaks like the way he did, saying that players work very hard, they still don't get into the team, somebody gets injured for a month or two, which is directly at Emmanuel Neti, who is by far the best player in this Hearts of Oak setup. Neti recovers from injury. He go in for a 2-3 week proper training. Costa Papich feels that, look, I've gotten my best player back. Let me throw him in there. What is the issue with that? There's no issue. Today, look at the impact of Bruno Fernandes in Manchester United. Assuming he was to get hurt 2 months, and then he comes back and only throws him in the team. Which of the players in Man United will have the nerves to question why Ole would throw Bruno Fernandes back into the Man United team? As a player, if he doesn't take care, his exit from Hasselhoff has begun. This is now the time for those who sent him
to support
and protect him. Because any bad performance from him, the supporters will come for him. You don't want that to happen to a footballer, that his own supporters will be coming for his head. And at that moment, the board members will be sitting in the stand. My good friend Oporeado, who was behind him, coaching him as to what to say and what not to say, will also be sitting in the stand and will not be able to come to the aid of the board. And that could be the end. And from the way he's behaved, which other coach in Ghana would you two want to work with him?
Yep.
I will never work with him. If you were to leave Hasselhoff and come and meet me,
yep,
and I will not even look at him the moment I see him come. I get rid of him quick from my training grounds. Because he's that sort of player who could bring proper division. Look, some of us have stepped in. We've spoken to some of the boys, those who feel very offended by what he said to what? Calm down and think about Hasselhoff.
I want to do this, Coach. I want to do this because I say that I hope that you coaches will understand that the boy was placed in
that's what I'm saying. I will understand that because, but I'm saying that although I will understand, I will not work with him.
You are worried about it
because whoever goes to take over from Costa Papage will be worried about Fatal, especially when he's the captain of the team. Yeah. Because if there's anything at all, captains are to support their coaches. They are the coaches' rep.
Yeah.
That is why for me, I completely disagree with coaches not being allowed to choose their leaders.
Yeah.
Then they say this is the team captain. No, when the new coach comes in,
you can change the captain.
He should be able to. You see, the coach is supposed to trust his captain.
Yeah.
So I completely, for example, if you look at what happens to our Black Stars, whoever the captain is, if the next coach comes, whether he likes him or not, he maintains him at the captain. No, I don't believe in that.
Right. I think you made a great point there. Joining us on the line as well is Bismarck Kowusu-Bempah Ayala. Ayala, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good, George. What about you?
Yeah, I'm very fine. It's good to see you. You're looking good as well. Let us go for the state from Vincent Sowadote. It would help us to talk about the issue about interference in football and whether coaches should be really bothered about it, whether there's a certain level of interference that's acceptable or unacceptable. This is what Vincent Sowadote had to say about what Papage said, regarding interference.
No single, I can assure you, I'll be the last person to see Papage fail. Nobody has influenced him. Not the shred. Anybody who tells you Alhaji Akambi has never ever had any single meeting with the coach. Anybody who tells you otherwise is misleading you. Never. Nobody has told him to fill this player favored. No, not at all. Unknown to us, he was having these things with the players until he came to light on Sunday when experts who had said, no, honorable, there's something wrong with your players. If you ask, I'll mention Nana Dakwa. I said on Sunday, when I followed the coach to the press room, and then some of the players were there. I believe Captain, you were there. And he told them that there's something between you and the coach. So I'll plead with you, all of you. No one has tried to influence, at least what the coach has told us. Repeatedly, since Thursday, we've met with him. Some of us have met with him no less than 3 times. He has repeatedly told us that with his experience, he has lost.
This is an interesting side to deal with. To be fair, we expected the ball to come out defending. Let me come to you, Coach, because you understand the local scene. Is there anything like a board never interfering with your job?
It's never true.
In Ghana?
It is never true. This board, led by Tobe Afede, Dr. Nyao Tamakro, Alhaji Akambi, they have influenced every coach that has been chosen by them. That is why they can sack and appoint. The only coach who they couldn't influence was the Japanese and Coach Duncan.
Kenichi.
These two did not allow them. So on sacking them, what did they tell all of us? These coaches are disrespectful. They don't respect. They don't take in. That was what they used to sack Duncan. They used the same phrase and terminology to sack Kenichi Yashuhachi because he would not allow them to influence his job. Kenichi told them that your job is in the boardroom. Go and do proper administration and get money for the team. My job is on that rectangular arena.
So in Ghana, it is impossible to say that there's no interference.
It is virtually impossible. Look, let me tell you of my experience. I will not mention the team's name. When I came back from the States and I was coaching a certain team, upon coaching that team, there was one day, a very important game. Apparently, the team owner and the elders of the team had decided that this game that we're going to play should go in a certain way. I didn't know. I thought that having lost the first leg at home, shockingly, I needed to go back
and win.
So I told them that, look, I'll win the return leg because I've now seen the team, what they play, I know where they're with. So after working with the boys, I had my captain who came to tell me that some of the boys have been told to play it soft by management. So when the boy confided in me, I said, are you sure? He said, coach, you know the relationship I have with you. So do your team in a manner to shock everybody. So I presented a completely shocking lineup. As if I knew that very typical of the refereeing situation in this country then will be shown a red card. So throughout my training session, I trained with 10 men. And I constantly stood on my feet and guided this boy. God being so good, when we went there, we took a very early lead. And I told the brother, look, if you stick to my game plan, we'll take an early lead and that will be it. Just after the lead, 5-10 minutes after the lead, we were shown the red card. Then I just told my boys, I've told you already. We've rehearsed for this. We'll play. Then the away team threatened that they should get rid of me from the touchline. I was expecting my employers, who were very close to the away team, to come to my aid. But shockingly, they were all standing and watching what was happening. Then my captain secretly walked to me. When one of the incidences were getting, he said, look, coach, you see what I told you? Look at them. Look at your employers. They know these guys. They should be coming to say, look, you cannot treat my coach like that. All of them just stood back. So I said, look, even if you take me away from here, you will play this game for more than 3 hours. You will not equalize. So I went and sat back and forth. We won the game by a lone goal. 2 weeks after, I tendered in my resignation. Look, I've gotten a job somewhere.
Interference.
And I have to go.
Very good example.
I have experienced
you are sure
that.
about interference.
I'm sure. It happens all the time.
Good. Ayala, look, let me ask you this. What level of interference is acceptable?
The one that seeks to intervene. That should be the limit. And George, you see, with all this discussion, the best truth is on our conscience. The best truth in these matters are always on our conscience. Now, you just suppose what the House of Folk Board enumerates as the reasons why Costa Papi said he's not going to continue. And the reflection of what they said they gathered from the players and what Fatah is saying, is there any difference? No. The coach is saying, I lack unity in my dressing room. The boys are not taking instructions. They are not committed. They are not cooperating with me. They are not showing the desire that I want to see in my players. Then the players come to say, majority of us feel there's favoritism. We feel players that are not supposed to play are playing and all that. So the desperation for House of Folk to communicate something just goes right in stream with all the factors that Papich is talking about. But the main issue for a journalist is, okay, if the stories are collaborating, then what is the underlying reasons for what is happening? And that is why I refer to everyone within the House of Fraternity to their conscience. Now, Papich has told close friends about a certain text message from Togwe Afede, the board chairman, not only suggesting players that are supposed to play a certain game, by the tactics that are supposed to go into it.
Yes.
It never reflected in their calculated communication. So in disbanding all that Papic has said outside the dressing room brouhaha, there's never any communication to address the test from Toby there. Now, George.
Yeah.
These issues, when they come, if you want to really understand what is really happening, it's not far-fetched. You remember the game against Mediama? Right after that, Papic said, with an interview with Star Times, that I'm surprised when I teach the boys, they come onto the field and they do their own thing. Now, if Honorable Vicenzo Odote, Alhaji Akambi, and all the House of Folk Board members are saying we've never interfered in the coach's job, so be it. But with any other communication that they do, they know that the problem will still persist if they continue to operate House of Folk the way they are operating it. And it's your word against my word. I'm not the one who is supposed to tell you this is the truth, that is the lie. But the real evidence is what is happening within the team and what happens on the pitch and other stuff. So I will not begrudge anyone. In their desperation to communicate, they came out to communicate. But what they did isn't different from what Papic told us. It's the same thing. Players who feel they are not being treated well and that they are not giving out their best. That is what Papic said. And the players are also bagging into it and say, yes, indeed, we feel favoritism. What Fatal said, if you're sitting down, you go watch House of Folk previous games and you understand why they play the way they played. Because even on a pitch as the captain, that is how he feels. So when he's on a pitch, how do you expect him to play? He will play and the team will lose. So for me, I think House of Folk is big. It's beyond every individual. So we move on from the Papic episode. But the reality is that anybody who is attached to the club, who is playing any role, whether directly or indirectly, if they are not true to themselves and to their conscience, and out of communication and want to please people, will come and tell us there's no interference, there's nothing, we will come back to the same topic, we will come back to the same results, we will come back to the same issue. It will take a renewal of the minds and the actions of people who are in power to change things at House of Folk. And if they are starting from a state of denial, we all live to see. But for the good of the team, they all have to change.
Let me tell you guys that this is just the beginning of what we're going to do for you when it comes to the Accra House of Folk topic. Later on the Sports Link, we have Elvis Herman Hesse, the boss of the supporters group. We'll have Opare Ado joining Nathaniel Atto on Sports Link to go through the matters. We have the likes of Harry Zakor, former board chairman, joining as well. We have Ernest Thompson and Mauka Fajin all joining for the Sports Link. That will be starting at 12 at noon. So it's important for you to check that out. Guys, let me take this clip from Alhaji Akambi. And because he's been fired, because the next step of our discussion is to try and sort out this, the board. We want our club. Something needs to happen. Something needs to change quickly. Alhaji Akambi says that all those allegations against him are baseless.
Excuse me to say, well, let me start here now. If you realize, I never want to talk. But I want to say, Obi Obe Kasana, let the person come and ask or point to say, yes, Alhaji, this is what you've done. And bring your proof. It's as simple as ABC. Let me tell you, some 12, 13 years ago, this thing started. When I was the NCC chairman, Ebenemu just out of hatred from day one. And excuse me to say, me were board on also. They did not bring me on the board. And I will never do anything. Nippon me by board on also. It's like I will disappoint him. So I'm not even concentrating on what they are saying. My most important mission is to face whatever is ahead of me. To do it. But Nipa Bakumba out on because Alaji, this is what you've done. Up to now, for so many years, nobody is able to come and say this is what you've done. And today, dia amubupo medina there. Ebi asabi, say me YouTube so announce Facebook. They could have been giving me bigger money because I've been trending. This is it. What is it about? Ana medina na amuboni na eyo omude. I just want one person to come out and say, Alaji, this is what you have done. Nobody will say, and none so better yes, oh, the concern ma Togbe. Excuse me to say, are they more sensible than Togbe Afede? None of them is sensible than him. He knows better than them. Even the football they are talking of, say, Togbe named football. What Togbe knows in football, I don't think any one of them knows quarter. You can ask our people at the premier, some of your autonomous meetings. I mean, they should just give us a break.
Give us a break is a big one, eh? Collins Atapo, who joins me. Collins, how are you doing this morning?
I'm not so well. I mean, listening to this, you just get deflated. Come on, what is this?
Let me fire this man before Collins.
You want Collins?
Please. Collins, I beg.
Collins, 2 minutes. Coach.
Look.
Coach, yes.
Elijah Kambi.
Just give him a break.
Look, he said we should. Look.
Yeah, but give me a break.
Elijah Kambi.
Yeah.
It pains, but I'll say it. I'm just taking him by his words.
Yeah.
Elijah Kambi. Togbe Afede. It hurts. Dr. Nyao Tamaklo. If they've got sense, they will not bring package and not sign a contract with him. I repeat, if they've got sense, like he said, no supporter of House of Folk has got sense more than Togbe. Me, Coach Nimley, today I'm saying here, just as J. Mensah, Afarijan, and co. vote for their own preferred party, but yesterday are put in charge to run to supervise our elections. Yeah. I am a stout House of Folk supporter. I have sense, more sense, a million sense than Elijah Kambi and those he was talking about, because I will not bring Costa Papich and not sign a proper contract with him and allow him to leave the way he has left. They should have come to the press conference showing the contract they have signed with Papich and telling all House of Folk supporters, keep your cool. We will take him on. We will take him to CAS. We will take him to FIFA and make sure he pays for this. But you cannot say any of that, only for you to say that nobody has sense. This is the man who said that if they sell the supporters of House of Folk, they cannot even repay Togbe. You see, he said that Togbe Afede, Togbe Afede is more sensible. And I'm putting on record, Togbe Afede endorses some of this unfortunate statement of Elijah Kambi. Because if you listen to Elijah, he said, the one who puts me on the board, who puts him on the board, is Togbe Afede who puts him there. So if he can tell the whole world that the one who puts me on the board, I have to make sure that I please that. He has no allegiance whatsoever in the interest of House of Folk. It's about himself and the one who puts him on the board. Me, Coach Nimley, I'm saying here, I am more sensible. Even what they did more sensible than what they did.
Let me come to you, Collins Atapoku. This was going to be a heated matter, definitely. Collins, you've had the opportunity of speaking to Costa Papich. Now tell me, how problematic is this board?
It's a very, 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 very problematic board. And the fact that it's so detached away from the ideals, virtues, and the very values that make House of Folk what it used to be. And that's the biggest indictment on this board. Everybody there is appearing to me as a self-centered person who has just one person to satisfy, Togbe Afede. Everybody is Togbe Afede. He is rich, he's powerful, he is everything we know he is, but he doesn't love House of Folk more than Nimeli. He doesn't love House of Folk more than Abdulaziz Futa. He doesn't love House of Folk more than Atabe, who goes in his wheelchair to the stadium to watch Accra House of Folk. If the business of Hearts is successful, Togbe Afede is going to get dividends. If the business of Hearts is successful, those on the board are going to take big, big, big allowances, fat ones. If the business of House of Folk is successful, the coach will be paid very well. If the business of House of Folk is successful, the players will be paid very well. Management members will be paid very well. The only member of the football pyramid that doesn't get paid in the Accra Folk system, the fans, they rather pay the club. Now, wherever those people from Nima, those people from Chapter O, who died in midnight they are telling them that they died a very stupid death.
Useless death.
A very, very foolish death.
What is
useless death? Death that has no value, that these people did not merit sacrificing the ultimate gift of life, which is life itself, to Accra to folk. Togbe can invest money. Togbe can invest his resources. He can invest his knowledge. But it has never happened that any member of the board, any member of the management team has ever sacrificed his life for the club. Fans did. Now it's clear that those guys died a very stupid death. That when they join the bus and go to Doma and support, and on their way back, unfortunately, something happens. These people would go back and tell them that you are nothing. Really, fans of the club, only constant. Management will come and go, board would come and go, chairman would come and go, players would come and go, coaches would come and go, technical team members would come and go. But the only constant is the fans. Through thick and thin, they are there. Now, this is an NCC, former National Chapters Committee chairman, asking the fans of the club to give the club a break. But the problem is that Akambi is speaking in such a manner that you can't even distinguish his personal vendetta on the board away from his core duty of ensuring that the to focus successful. And it's shameful, because there's a supporters leader. And you see, what really irks me about this whole pronouncement from Dr. Nyaho Tamakulu and Alhaji Akambi is that they are supposed to know better, if not for Togo Afede. They ought to. Now, in the late 80s, Nyaho came with musical youth, Ezekiel Alamu, Sam Johnson, Abladi Kuma, when the fans were not satisfied because they thought these guys were too small to play for art. He went to the fans, explained to them the need. And he met these fans in Numonette's house in Swalaba, explaining to everybody the need for us to detach themselves from their past, the fearsome five, who were aging, and then build a new team. Just needed to detach itself from Ofe Ansah, from Robert Hammond, from all these people. We allowed you to do it. The fans supported you. But today, these fans don't know football. They don't. Look, we are in this country. When you go to the stadium, there is some unique identity you associate with us fans. One, they are a vociferous supporting nature. Home or away. We go to the Papayara Stadium early enough to see the Hearts fans welcome their players. It's an attraction on our calendar in Kumasi when you go to the stadium. You must go there and see how the Hearts fans would embrace their players, how they would sing and outsing the Kotoko fans. In the last game they played in Kumasi, it was raining. The game was rained off. These guys were in the rain singing. Now, we have fans' involvement with clubs. The level of involvement of Accra folk fans in Hearts is unparalleled in this country. Kotoko are known for giving, but Hearts direct their team that this match we are going to play. Don't use the team bus. Use this bus. Pass here. Don't pass here. They do that. They accept it. And it's a club that gave opportunity to many people to establish themselves. Look at Abdulaziz Haruna Futa. Look at him. Look at those people in Chapter O then. These people died for nothing. Akambi, is this the legacy you were supposed to promulgate on the board? Now we accept it. He is very knowledgeable. But I'll tell them, he doesn't love how to book more than these guys at Chapter O. I'll repeat that all the time. Because I've not seen any management member lay his life for the club. These fans did on May night.
Yep.
They went to see their love and never got back home. These people went back home. Akambi sees them and then goes back home. Now, with these superior brains at the PLB autonomous meeting and all that, how come out of folks' highest position in the league has been third? In this era of superior management and technical proficiency at the board level. They should tell us, how come? Akambi is part of the board. Nyaho is part of the board. Toby is part of the board that is overseeing a lame duck club. A club that has been challenging for the highest powers, both locally and on the continental level, now can't find its way, its feet in the local game. Kotoko went from 2003 to 93 to 2003 without a league trophy. 10 years. Within this period, they won the Guinness Gala. They were winning the FA Cup more than once. What do Hearts have to show for the intervening period that they've not won the league?
Abena Jima
Jewa Cup.
Nana Abena Jewa Cup.
Jewa Cup is what they have. That's what they have to show. This era is worse than the Kotoko one, but we are just overlooking. This is not hard.
Right.
The earlier they return the club to its roots, the better for everybody. And you see, yes, we respect traditional authority. Tobe Afede is not the most enlightened traditional ruler to be involved with heart. At the peak of their powers, when they were all conquering in Ghana and Africa, now were pumping from the Kwapim traditional area was the board chairman, life patron of Accra House of Folk. This is a club that had a former vice president and a former president involved. So please, we've seen people who are very elite, who have climbed the social ladder, gone far, been involved with us, and then they gave us results. What a man did, he was praised. Tope is not doing it, and that's why there's all this turmoil in the club. It is no more about Hearts of Folk and its success. It's about the interest and stake of Tope Afede.
Excellent point made there by Papa Poku. Now, I'm not sure I can activate phone lines here because I need to go on to a very important one, the last 4 minutes with Ayala. So I'm heading you guys on the sports link. You hear from the key actors there. You can do a lot of that. Sorry about it, but let's try and educate you. Ayala, so how do the supporters advance the topic of we want our club back? Knowing all the potholes and all the problems they've got, knowing that it's really up to Tope Afede, how do they advance that?
Now, George, listening to Coach Renata, you get the impression that there is one peculiar problem with Accra House of Folk. Now, under the Companies Act, I think Act 992, if you read the responsibilities of board members, the first one is that board members owe fiduciary duties to the institution. In simple put, if you are a board member, every activity you take as a director of an institution, it must be in the best interest of the institution. Now, you hear communication from House of Folk board members, and as reflected in what Coach Anata said, they owe their fiduciary duty to Tope Afede. That is sad. And that is to say, we then have people on the House of Folk board as directors of the club who doesn't know their job. It's as simple as that. Because if they do, then they will know that their fiduciary duty is to the club and not to the board chairman.
How can the supporters change that board?
Now, it will be difficult. George, let me refer you to the first sentence of the board of directors release. The part that captures the way forward, the first one. It says, let me tell House of Folk supporters, especially the shareholders. And that was the sentence that captured the first and foremost want of the NCC, the dissolution of the board. Now, in reading the context of the board release, they are saying they are addressing that subject to the supporters, most especially the shareholders. What they want to communicate is that today, crucial decisions and what you want is not within your powers. It's within the shareholders, and the majority of it is Tope Afede. Nothing that you say can influence major decisions at the club. Now, George, if you are asking me, how do House of Folk supporters get back their club legally, it's difficult.
Impossible.
And when you are born with House's blood in you, you can never say, then let me sit down and just watch the team go where it has to go because there are people who are now shareholders of the club. That is the dilemma of a typical House of Folk fan today. It is so painful.
Yeah, I know.
There is no solution. There is none.
It's actually just what I saw, including my time. I just saw the two. That there's no solution for Hearts of Folk.
There's no solution. Unless one, you see, and that is why we talk about wisdom in leadership.
Yeah.
There are sometimes we've seen people who have absolute powers. And let me tell you this. I'm not going to mention the person's name, but he's a former board member of House of Folk. I spoke to him this week.
Yeah.
And he told me, Ayala, it is not the flotation of shares that has created a problem holistically. It is not those who don't have shares. And it is not that now that Toby Afede and some few people own shares in Haas, we don't respect them. But what we are calling for is consultation with some of us to all come on board and influence the team in a positive way.
I think I made the point. My time is up.
It's not sensible enough to be on this board.
Thank you, guys. My time
is up. It's not sensible to be.
We are going more. We are going on to radio. We are going on to radio between 12 and 2 p.m. We'll talk about all the other matters. We'll give you a chance to call there. It's so sad we're ending the show, but I'm sorry about it. We're back next week with another lovely edition as always. And thank you to Atapoku, thank you to Ayala, thank you to Coach, the entire production team. I'm George Adejini. Be good.